His latest one was fantastic.
Who's next?
Warning. Portions of this call have been altered to protect the privacy and identity of all involved.
Ooh,
That was horrible.
HIPAA.
Welcome to the Medic Materials Podcast. If you came here for a healthy dose of EMS professionalism, you just made a huge mistake. Each week, we discuss all things EMS, review some calls. We also try to get you to pry open your wallets and buy some cool merch and join the Patreon. Somewhere along the way, we also do a fair amount of education and say some smart things. So push the kids out of the room, settle in, and let's get started.
Hello and welcome everyone back to the Medic Materials Podcast. I have a spectacular panel because everybody's here today. I also have a spectacular show planned for you guys with a fleeing suspect, a cliff, and a creek. So we're going to see how that one turns out. Find out more in 60 seconds. But first, I want to welcome our first new sponsor to the show. Bringing to you the Medic Materials Podcast is Up to Par Lighting. If you guys are in the market for any type of emergency lighting, radio systems, anything, Mikey and his team here in New York are the go-to guys. I have known Mikey for years and years and years and years. He is literally one of my longest time friends. He has been a mechanic for eons. And years ago, he started Up to Par Lighting. And he has been working with fire departments, rescue squads, law enforcement, organizations, doing all of their radio installs, all of their new decking and lighting, and everything in between for wiring and electrical. So if you guys are in the market, give him a ring. Number is 845-532-9964. And you can also find all of his work on Instagram at Up to Par with 2 R's, P-A-R-R lighting. That is at Up to Par, P-A-R-R lighting. So, Mikey, thank you for coming and sponsoring the podcast.
Very cool.
He's also an EMT. He's been one since before I was an EMT. He was the one that actually got me into being an EMT. Got me my first MVO job years and years and years ago at Empire State Ambulance. But it's cool that, he wanted to take a risk and throw his money into our show, which is crazy.
Cool.
But yeah, so welcome, guys. How goes it?
See, now if you would have planned better.
I don't like to plan.
You could have told me, and what I would have told you is what you should do is go get the sound clip from Days of Thunder when Randy Quaid says, "We got us a sponsor."
Oh, yeah. I wanted to surprise you guys and get the looks on your faces.
Very cool.
Holy shit, someone gave us money.
Really cool.
Right. Can I have some money?
Right? There's that pry open the wallets thing as you are cringing listening to your own voice still.
I don't need questions. I need questions answered. Question number 1. Can I have some money?
So as always, we have Gerard with us. Gerard, thank you again for, coming back. It's been a little bit. It's been like,
it's been
I don't know, months. I will tell everybody one piece of advice: never take on 2 EMT courses at the exact same time, an hour and a half apart. Don't ever do it. It was the dumbest thing I have ever done.
Yep.
I wouldn't recommend it to my worst enemy out there ever. It sucks the life out of you. But, like I said, we've had a lot of guys and a lot of girls, emailing the show and been like, "Hey, are you guys dead?" As you said, Gerard, did we go down with Kobe?
Yeah, whoops.
Like, it's no,
we
we're
just
still
wanted to
here.
see if anybody noticed.
Right, we're still here. It's all good. I've kind of changed some things around. Some of the sound bites are a little different. Some of the memes are a little different. I felt like sprucing in a little bit of newness as we go along, but the intros are all the same except for
it's new Phil smell.
Oh, new Phil smell. Well, that leads into Phil's intro, the Phil Foundation. He can't even probably hear the intro.
I was gonna say, if only we could hear it.
I can hear it.
Bob your
He
head
should
like
be
you can
doing
hear it.
this right now. Like he's
Okay.
bobbing for cock in the,
The glory hole.
Right off.
right off the rip, man. Right off the rip.
Couldn't just ease into it.
Nope.
You know,
Dude,
little bitty glide.
the
no.
Phil Glory Hole sticker is the best-selling sticker we own.
I'm sure it
is.
is. I'm sure it
It's
is.
disturbing how many people have bought that thing.
Just remember.
I think Phil just bought them all, so he doesn't have to put them out there in public.
Yeah.
Oh, I just had a great idea for design 2.0.
Oh gosh. You'll have to let us know. The Maha is which you did you?
Are we playing his music now?
We
'Cause
are.
We can't hear.
We are. Do.
Am I bopping with the music in time?
Maybe with that new sponsor funding, we can fix that.
Yeah.
I don't, dude. I have no idea why it doesn't work because it's in the soundboard. So anything that's should be in the soundboard should be going out to you guys. So
Nope.
I don't know where that loss is. I think
Might
it's
wanna
with Zoom.
Call the sound guy over.
Yeah, I think it's with
Good.
Zoom. It's not with me.
You should get a hold of the production guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mikey's not sponsoring us that hard. All right. I don't have the funds for a production guy. I wish you could hear it because I updated the
Certified
Emily
badass.
intro to be certified.
See, now we heard
badass.
that.
Oh,
I heard that.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I felt like, we've got a badass that ran its course. Now she's a flight nurse. It's certified at this point. Certified G bona fide stud right there.
Boom.
Lots of
Boom.
bona fides there, yeah.
That's right. That's right. All right, let me get this rig check out of the way. It's been a while. But again, I want to thank everybody for their patience waiting on this episode to come out. I know
Just a
many of
little
you
patience.
have been itching for new content from us for a while. Like I said, don't recommend bunching up 2 EMT classes. It will suck the life out of you just like medic school. But I have been on a tear getting new CMEs in production for the Medic Materials CME Academy. This show will go up on the CME Academy here in the next week. So make sure to go and check out medicmaterialscmeacademy.com for all of your BLS and ALS CME needs. We're going to keep it short and sweet. And I heard a great speech from the El Presidente of Argentina the other day. So we are going to shout out to his folk down in the now free country of Argentina, as well as here in the U.S., the free state of Florida. So thank you again for listening in those 2 places, guys. So are you guys ready?
What we should have done we could have had Emily speak, to him in Spanish,
No, you couldn't.
No, we couldn't.
No, you can't. You absolutely cannot do that.
El Argentinio.
El welcome to
Berico.
our show.
So remember to speak very loud and slow.
Yes, slow. So guys, I felt like we needed to celebrate coming back on here, so I am giving you guys a Patreon level call here to start. All right, so your system today, the call takes place in a rural BLS volunteer district. They staff their ambulance with 2 EMTs and a driver. Their ALS is provided by a countywide ambulance service that's staffed this day with 2 paid paramagicians on 1 ambulance. All right.
What?
Staffing issues, man. Staffing issues.
Damn.
I thought the call volume was down.
The call volume's always down.
It's always down.
Just get the signatures. You're all set.
There are 2 hospitals within your area. The first hospital is located in a medium-sized city.
That's dos.
For
our
Emily.
Argentinian.
Yep.
Yeah, I paid attention in high school.
That's
Uno.
Uno.
Uno. I was just
Muy
getting
bien.
She learns so quickly.
Right?
The first hospital is located in a medium-sized city and is designated as a level 2 trauma center, a stroke and PCI center, and is 1 hour away from the scene. The second hospital is a large urban city hospital and is designated as a level 1 trauma center, a stroke PCI, a pediatric center, and is 1.5 hours away from the scene. So we are out in Stickville, right? Out in the rustic, if we're
I guess
going.
We're calling the Incredible Dr. Pole.
we
I love that
could
show.
be. Or we're just going to, finally, instead of calling for my wife, we're going to call for Emily to fix the problem.
Right, exactly.
So typically I do not include this, but weather plays a factor today. All right. So I'm going to include your weather. This
Okay.
call has no rain, snow, or otherwise nasty weather. However, it does take place at night at 2 a.m. in the woods. So it is pitch dark. All right. Almost complete darkness. You're dispatched to stand by at a local firehouse for what is called police activity within the district. No other details are given. Both the BLS and ALS agencies are placed on standby.
Put your vests on.
Put your vest on, right? So have you guys ever actually been dispatched in just like police activity? They
Yeah.
don't tell you what, like what does that usually mean to you guys?
MHL.
Put your
calls.
vest on.
Other than
MHL.
put your vest on. For those that don't have vests, put your helmet on.
Right.
Usually they're MHL calls.
And if you don't have that, stand behind your EMT.
and park far away from the scene because
No, I agree. I think a lot of times, Butch, you do get the MHL or the thing that I kind of think about is they might be serving a warrant.
or
And
it's a drug bust up like that,
Yeah.
right.
Usually for a drug bust, they'll contact you during the day, be like, "Hey, listen, we're doing an activity. We just need you to stand." But usually you get a few hours notice.
Right. It's not so much as like, boom, here's a dispatch, and there you go, off and running.
Yeah, like one of the ones that pops in my head was a domestic that got out of hand after they got there, and they were like, "All right, you send them over, but don't send them to the scene yet because it's still out of hand."
Right. Yeah. Like a unsafe scene that was just a police matter, and now it becomes an EMS matter. Yep, I like that.
Yeah, it was a brotherly fight, and then finally the one brother said, "Hey, you know what? You've done pissed me off. Now I'm gonna run you over with my truck."
Right. Or put your head through a wall or whatever.
No, he ran him over with the truck.
Oh, okay.
right in front of the cops.
Cool.
No fucks
Yeah,
to give.
zero. Less than zero.
And the thing that gets me is like you'll have some of your younger providers that'll just like wheel up on the scene behind the cop cars. I like to be like, do they have do they have any weapons on the scene?
Yeah.
I don't know. Then why are you parked right behind the cop
Why
cars?
are you here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole, standby should be done
Move
far
over
away.
there.
Like
Yeah.
miles down the road. They can contact me by radio and I can get 2 miles fairly quickly. It's okay.
For our firefighters out there with the rule, you know your rule of thumb. If you can see the scene from where you're at,
Or too close.
you're too close.
Too close. So
That means they can see me.
yeah. So 15 minutes goes by. And you find out listening to cross traffic on the radio that there is a police pursuit within the district that crossed over from an adjacent county. And
that always ends well.
Right? It totally always ends well.
Yeah, they always get away.
At 100%.
Yeah.
20 more minutes goes by. So now you're on scene for 35 minutes, right? Plus
go speed racer. Go.
Right? 20 more minutes goes by and police apprehend the suspect and cancel all
Shocker.
EMS units from the standby. So
this doesn't sound like a Patreon level call.
All right,
I was
episode
just
done.
gonna say,
It's like, all right,
Yep.
welcome back. It's been real.
Mic drop. Have a great day.
peace.
Everybody, this is what it feels like when you get canceled.
Yep, this was the rush to ending when you still have half a season left, and they say finish it up in 2 episodes. So both trucks return to service. The volunteers begin to leave their station, and the ALS unit begins to move back towards their county posting location. 10 minutes goes by, and the police call back to dispatch, and they request EMS back to the scene. This time to the scene, not to standby, but to the scene.
You've lost another suspect.
So the county goes, "Hey, why do you need EMS? You just had them. You canceled them. What possibly could have went wrong?" And the officer tells 911 that, in their quote, "the patient has fallen off a cliff."
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
All right.
so
All right.
At least you were told they fell.
right? They weren't pushed, right?
Right. Nah.
Or tripped. They didn't trip off the cliff.
They didn't trip up the stairs.
So I would like to just rummage through your guys' brains here with a very, very simple question, because we're all thinking it. It's how the fuck did that happen?
10 minutes. Like, what?
Like,
I'm thinking
What?
somebody was inattentive, and dude was like, "I'm making a break for it. This is my big chance."
yep. And
And
Cuffs
bolted.
on him yet. They're
There
doing
was
blah,
actually-
blah, blah. Boop, gone.
There was, and it's pitch black. It's night, so you can't tell a cliff is in front of you,
Nope.
especially when you have tree lines that stick up pretty high, and it just looks like more
here's my
trees.
impression of Jesse Owens.
You know, that's right, and off he goes. But it's funny because there was a Cops episode where this actually happened,
No
and I mean like
shit.
old episode, like when I was a kid. Yeah, dude is running from the police, and the last thing you see is him. He looks at the camera on the dash, and he's like, "Oh," and he vaults over the edge of this like part of an overpass, and what he failed to recognize was the overpass was about 100 feet in the air into a train yard,
Ooh.
Oops.
so he didn't make it.
Ow.
But it was a good effort. Good try.
Totally
He
good
had a 50-50
effort.
shot.
100%.
You know, could be water, could be a train yard. You know,
Fitty shot.
yeah, had to take it.
So I'm with you in that someone had to get sloppy here and like not be paying attention. They let him go for whatever reason, and the dude bolted. That's exactly what came to my thought. Like,
He probably had handcuffs on. I would imagine. It just, you know, they run when they have handcuffs on still. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
people don't understand that.
they
And
still
now you
try.
can't brace your fall.
Right.
I mean, you know, how much bracing are you gonna do if you fall off a cliff? Not much.
Try, but
You could try.
you still
Things
know where
are
the
just
bottom
gonna
is.
break.
Depends on how high the cliff is. Like if you have time to like take a breath and then keep screaming, it's probably very high. You're not gonna make it.
Right.
You know?
So the BLS crew arrives on the scene and is met by what they described as a nervous-looking officer right at their driver's window.
What? No way.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
And the officer informs the driver and the primary EMT that this particular suspect is an adult male believed to be in his 40s. He was apprehended after the
Who should
vehicle
know better?
chase and was being searched when he escaped the grip of officers and ran into the wood line. Without
Yep.
him knowing, he ran right off of a 60-foot embankment/cliff and fell into a creek bed at the bottom.
Let me guess. No creek. Just the creek bed.
Minimal
Little chip dry.
creek.
Right.
Let's put it this way. As it's described to me, it was, a 30 or 40 foot wide creek bed that the creek water only takes up 10 or 15 feet of it.
Right. Yeah.
And the rest is just rocks.
Yeah,
not
it's one
fun.
of those. Right.
So the officer tells them that this is almost vertical down the cliff, but there seems to be a sloping trail off to the one side that meanders down the embankment.
Great. We'll get some high angle people here, and they'll go get them and bring them up to me.
Beautiful.
Bounce off the side.
2 officers are attempting to get down there now to access the male patient.
And now you have more patients.
So now I have to call for more ambulances because we're going to have 3 patients now. Right. Exactly.
Right? So the 2 EMTs.
And what are they going to do when they get down there? Go, yep, there he is.
Yep.
Yeah, there he
He's
is.
fucked.
Right? I think
get their cuffs back.
They're going to continue searching him.
They're going to tase him to make sure he's down. I don't
They're
know.
going to put a knee on his neck and yell, "Stop resisting." Hey, they'll Narcan him too.
They totally will Narcan him.
Give him the
100%.
Narcan. He's not breathing. We'll Narcan him.
Unresponsive. Give him Narcan.
And tase him.
Maybe the taser will help, the electricity will help start his heart again.
Right. I saw it on 911.
Oh my God.
Rob Lowe did it. Maybe it'll work.
Right. I'm just waiting for that episode where he says, "Give it." Well, I'm not that I ever watch it, but I can only imagine like someday there's going to be one where they'll like, "Give me your taser. I'm going to defib with it."
Oh, dude, it's probably already been done.
It probably already.
We'll crack the
100%.
chest and we'll give. Yeah.
And if not, someone listening to this just emailed Lone Star 911 going, "Yup, here's an idea for you."
Right.
So,
but
we have to do it through the anus.
Well, of course you do.
By hemispheric electrocution.
Correct. By hemispheric.
You have to Eiffel Tower that shit. Anus and mouth, and you're good to go.
Right. Well, you see, the phrenic nerve runs right up the butthole, and they'll come up with some fucking explanation.
Why do people miss this? I have no idea.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Sorry.
As Emily's I'm just day drinking. It's fine, gentlemen. I don't know
I gauge my level of how far off the rails I'm going while looking at her face.
Yeah.
If she's still laughing, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm not too far off. And then when she's like, okay, I'm just going to take a sip. I've kind of had enough. I'm like, all right, well, that was probably uncalled for. And
We should probably stop now.
We're 1 in. We've been recording for like 10 minutes.
Shit.
Gee.
So, the 2 EMTs exit their ambulance and they take their first in bag and head into the woods, not to go down, but scope out this location.
Yeah.
So in the logistical thought process, you've already requested a ropes team to bring patient to you.
Absolutely.
What is your guys' approach to this? Like, what do you request? What do you need?
Or an ambulance company that flies a Bell 412 with a hoist.
There you go.
Call back.
I'm gonna go to the Phil Foundation here, since he's been quite quiet up in his little corner.
Not surprised.
And see kind of what he's thinking.
I mean, what did you say? It was 60, 65 feet?
60. Yeah, they're
60?
saying estimated 60.
And landed in the creek bed, like no water at all?
Not that we know of yet. We can only assume that it's rocks.
Good summation, Phil. Good summation.
Yes.
Way to pay attention.
I'd say probably request like medevac, just because 60 feet is automatically
mechanism.
Mechanism on top of
in prolonged extrication.
Yeah.
On top of that, and if he is cuffed, normally he's cuffed behind the back, so he took the brunt of that fall probably to his head.
His head or posterior anterior.
Yeah.
Right? He either landed square on his chest and his face, he landed on his head, or he landed,
if he like tumbled down this embankment.
I still don't see anything that's gonna make that fall nice for this poor guy.
Mm-hmm.
No. I mean, like if he tumbled down the embankment, then
I mean, has anybody like yell to him, is he awake?
Right.
So
Hey, are you okay?
yeah,
I can figure that out from the top.
yes, we could
No, I'm
figure
sure
that
they
out
said-
from the top.
I'm sure they said, "Hey, you all right?" And he went, "Ah," and they're like, "Hey, he's fine."
Has
That's all right. That's a
Has
It
anybody
response.
is,
tried? Has anybody tried those things called lights? I mean, clicky, clicky.
Flashlights.
Right?
I mean,
Click.
everybody
Cops used to
carries, like,
carry them back in the day.
everybody has those, high-powered LED lights that can blind the blind people. I mean, you can turn those on and go,
I mean, you got 2 EMTs there. They've got to at least have 3 each.
yeah, they have like lights on them now.
They are
Got the
volunteers.
bat belts. They're like, click, 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 click,
I'm sure they have all of their supplies attached to their bat belts.
Let's turn on the lights now. No,
They can
that's
light
just
up.
what
They
they'd be
can light
expecting
up
us
the
to
eastern
do.
seaboard.
So I'm in full agreement. I think you definitely need manpower to get this person up, right? But also if this, you kind of have to also think okay, how mangled and how broken is this person going to be when I get down there? Is this now going to go from, they were running to a traumatic arrest? Okay, well, am I working a traumatic arrest in a creek bed?
No.
I don't really
Right.
want to do that. Is this going to be, oh, yep, sorry, but this dude's broken in half. Good God. And
Dude, it's dark. You can't see shit.
no.
And it's down a cliff. No, he's coming to me from some other means. Because
Right.
last time I checked, nope, mountain climber's not in my fucking job description.
At some point,
Sorry.
you had to get him. You had to get us to him or him to us just to do an assessment to see what you're working with. Somehow,
Yeah.
some way. And you got
Agreed.
You tell me there's another way to go down there, put me on a fucking UTV or something, and we'll, okay, let's do that.
Well,
But I'm not
right,
climbing down a cliff
right.
at night.
No. And I think there's a lot of people who would try and do something like that.
Yeah, 2 cops that have they're gonna probably fall.
It's like, okay, well, sorry. And I think there's a lot of people that have that, mentality of, oh, well, something happened, I have to do something.
No, you
But
don't.
it's also a scene safety issue.
No.
Am I going to make myself a patient by going down there? Hey, this is a Patreon level call. Remember the Patreon call that we did with the EMT going down that, what was it? The oil truck one, where it was like a slope that was a sheet of ice and they got
Yes.
stuck down
Yeah.
there, right? So now you have the patient, but you also have your partner that just became another patient, right? So it does actually happen. We have to think about these things. It's why I tell every student I've ever had is yeah, if they're in the water, I'm not going after them. No, I'm not
trained to
there to
do
go
that.
and rescue them. That's lifeguard's job or fireman's job or cop's job. They want to be heroes. Bring them to me.
I mean,
you
it's
know?
not even a hero. It really is. I mean, if you want to take all the joking out of it, I mean, it's specialty training. We don't have
Yeah.
that type of training.
Right.
We don't know where a good place to put your hand is versus where a bad place to put your hand is.
Right.
Right.
And then, we go down. Now, guess what? Now you have another patient that somebody has to come deal with, and now you can't treat anybody.
Right.
Even if you make it down safe, that's another person that they have to get
Correct.
up.
Yeah.
That's a whole logistical
Right,
nightmare.
Not even that. Is you don't know the area and the animals in the area. You don't know if there's a poisonous snake somewhere on that rock when you're going down the rock and you get bit. Now you're dead because
Yeah, I
you got
mean,
a poisonous snake bite.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
there's octopus out there that are trained in anti-pulling techniques. You got to worry about that stuff.
You do.
But you're talking to somebody who had a kid who flipped a dirt bike up on top of a mountain on rocks and shit, and I got in the back of a UTV with Farmer Bob, and we went fucking 35-degree angle up the fucking thing to go treat the kid. But I didn't have to use any kind of special training. I just had to sit in the thing and hold on to my gear.
Right. And
I was driven up there by somebody who knows how to drive that thing.
Right. And I've done the
Right.
same thing with snowmobiles. I've
Right.
hopped on the back of a snowmobile and taken off, and it's okay, they're going to bring me back in the
Right.
wintertime, wherever. I agree, and I think we as providers have to think we don't have that specialized training. And there might be somebody that does, you know, and I laugh and I bring them into the fold, jokingly, lovingly making fun of him. But the old Justin factor of, are you an EMT or are you a fireman on this scene? Right. And
but that's just because you have the training doesn't mean you have the tools.
right.
Yeah. Okay. I can do a high angle rescue. I have zero supplies to be able to do that. So I still safely do it.
Exactly.
You have your ropes and all your doodads and hook ends and all that shit.
First bag with an
Right.
That's what I have.
Exactly.
That's not going to help.
Right. So, as I said, the two officers were going down the embankment to see what happened, right? They do end up making it to the bottom of this cliff/embankment, and they find in a report via the radio that the male is unresponsive, bleeding heavily from the head and the face. Shocker, right?
Oh, one more thing I just thought about too when she was talking about, you know, having all the equipment and stuff. Yeah, getting down there and getting up, the special training, all that stuff, and as long as you got the right gear, you can do it. Okay, guess what? It's a completely other story having to bring somebody up who cannot help you bring themselves up.
Yeah.
Right.
So so that's a whole other layer of fucking shit in the onion.
Well, that's why I said, like, this is a high angle ropes rescue, no matter what.
Yeah.
Right. You can't walk them up there. It has to be Stokes basket on a high angle system, right?
Yeah.
And now, if I'm bringing gear down there, I'm not carrying that gear back up, right? I can't just throw the gear off the side of the cliff and hope that it doesn't
just set
break,
it on top of the patient.
You know? Oh yeah, that's totally appropriate. So the hopefully the sound
he's bleeding
bite,
from his head.
Yes, 100%. So he's unresponsive.
The weight of the gear will stop the bleeding, right? You know, it's
Ooh.
Compression.
Pressure
Beautiful.
dressing, or what do you call it? Bulky dressing.
And,
There you go.
most ALS bags are red, so it'll just blend right in. It'll be good.
Yeah. They won't even have to wash it or buy a new bag, so you'll save the money.
Exactly.
See, look at
Because,
that.
you know,
Critical
call volume's
thinking.
down.
Critical thinking.
So the hopefully I have this soundbite good. It's the right one. We'll see when I hit it. It could be completely wrong, and there's my second screw up in the return episode. But the two EMTs decide together, because they're so anxious to go and see this patient, that they are now going to get down the trail and go access this patient. And when they see him, he's laying somewhat mangled on a bunch of rocks at the bottom of the creek bed. And
I wonder why he's mangled.
Right.
Shocker.
And if I brought up the right soundbite, hopefully a good friend of ours from our childhoods will help us describe exactly how this person is laying.
Silence.
Okay, so just think he's probably broken in half.
So we didn't hear any of that.
Yeah.
No,
You're welcome.
it-
You're
okay.
welcome for that
somebody,
idea.
For somebody.
I was like, is that Marcel Marceau? Or I don't know.
It was JR going, good God almighty, he's broken in
okay.
half. Yeah, so thank you, Phil.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm. And he still has his hands handcuffed behind his back. So,
of course they were. I knew it. I knew it.
Of
Well, they were
course.
behind his back when he fell. They're probably
Dude got froggy when they started going in his pockets. They're like, oh shit, they're gonna find my glass dick. Let me get the fuck out of here. And he fucking ran off the cliff.
Yep. Peace. So the primary EMT begins their initial physical. They find that his eyes are closed and he is unresponsive to all stimuli. Airway's compromised. There's heavy blood pouring from the airway. Breathing shallow but present. They cannot assess the radial pulses because of the handcuffs. But
Can we have someone take
Yeah,
these cuffs off, please?
The cops are down there. Uncuff him. He's not running away
I don't think
again.
he's running away
you-
with that for
you
this
never
one.
know, man.
We can't do that. It's not part of our protocol.
He's in custody.
well,
He's in custody.
you never know. The Narcan they gave him might just, and he could be off and running again. You
With
never know.
no nose, where'd it go?
They didn't,
I know where it went.
they didn't actually give it to him. So they can't get the radial pulses because of the handcuffs, but a carotid pulse is checked. That is present. It's fast. It's strong.
No shit.
There is a large laceration to the right temple area with significant bleeding. So what do you guys think? I'm going to go straight to Emily, who's not playing solitaire right now. So I'm going to use her while she's paying attention.
I mean, not great. And what supplies do I have?
Your
with me?
first in bag.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, so I don't love that. I mean, you can't move past A or C. Like you're not going further, so you need to fix what you found.
Yeah. Like
What are their protocols? Like, what can an EMT do for airway down there besides just, can they do anything beyond OPA, NPA?
no.
Fuck.
No, they cannot. They can't do like an LMA or
Right.
a combi tube, or not a
No.
combi tube, but like an eye
King
gel
airway
or
or
King
something.
airway
Eye
or
gel,
something
yeah.
like that. Right.
I mean, that's going to be a really difficult extrication now that you're bagging this
Yeah.
guy.
Right.
I mean,
and
but you have to.
but
Yeah.
also think about this.
How about
too,
that
right?
rope team now, huh?
Yeah. How about that suction? Can you rope me down?
Well,
with
that's
suction?
it. Where is
Hook you
how
up.
are we gonna suction this guy until we can, get
I mean,
one?
you're going to
It's-
maintain. If you don't have it, like you've got to put him on his side, maintaining
Yeah.
right. So
stabilization. So good luck.
this guy.
It's a good thing there's 4 of you down
Right,
there.
this guy's on rocks. I have to find and move him somewhat carefully to the flattest area possible. I don't even know if they do that. We'll see. And then roll them with C-spine precaution, manual stabilization, because that's all you got. Butch is
thing there's
talking,
4 of
but
you.
I can't actually hear him.
That's his major problem right now, C-spine.
I mean,
it's not going to matter if he suffocates on his
Right.
blood.
Or bleeds out of that,
It's fine,
or
it's not gonna
bleeds out of
make
the
any
temple
difference,
artery.
but right. So like, you've kind of found 3 major issues here.
well, right. And, just keep in mind, not in going with the exploration of where he's bleeding, right? If he's got a laceration to the temple area,
I'm pretty sure there's
He-
something else bleeding.
right? He probably
Oh, yeah.
probably nicked his, middle meningeal artery, and which runs through your temple area.
And I'm sure his brain went slosh, slosh, slosh.
Well,
slosh, slosh.
exactly, right? So that area at the temple is the weakest
Right.
portion of your skull. So
That's why as soon as you said it, I was like, oh.
yeah, guaranteed this guy's got a skull fracture,
Yeah.
right? And what kind of heavy damage internally that we can't see, depressed skull fracture or whatever.
Is he going to start striking a pose for us?
Right, exactly. So the
I don't mean he's going to start voguing or anything. For those who-
You said, what was the weather like?
it's clear but dark, like pitch dark.
Bucket, launch the bird.
Yeah, that's why they wear the
I mean-
goggles.
Yeah,
You need to get all your
yeah.
resources.
At this point, anything and everything I need,
Hey, they'll get some actual time on the goggles.
right?
It's a
So
win-win.
the primary EMT tells the officers on scene to contact County 911 and request the fire department and the county rope rescue team, as well as check on the availability of
Why didn't we do this before we went down?
because they're stupid, and it wouldn't be a Patreon call if they didn't do it.
Didn't we do this before we went down? The fuck is wrong with you?
Because
This is the hero complex.
it's that adrenaline
This is the
rush.
fucking,
It's like,
or I don't know if
can
it's the
fix
hero
it.
complex
I can
or it's
fix
the
it.
fucking, right. It's the, oh, shit, something. No, I got to get in on that. The fuck's wrong with you? Why are you even down there, dude? Sorry. I don't know what that was because I couldn't hear it, but I'm sure it was fantastic.
It was. It was The Rock telling them that they absolutely suck. So the secondary EMT then instructs one of the officers to maintain C-spine. Once this is done, they end up rolling the patient off the rocks and find a somewhat flat surface on the creek side, and they place the patient there. Before
Have we moved his arms out from behind him?
that was literally my next sentence. It
Oh,
says,
okay.
before putting him back in a supine position, they have the other officer take off the handcuffs, now allowing access to the arms. He's then
Thank
rolled
you.
to a supine position. At this point, the dual paramedic crew arrives on scene.
Wait. Hold on.
Oh, we're holding on.
So they don't have suction.
They don't
and
have
they
suction.
rolled him onto his back.
Correct.
So he has 4 minutes and he's.
I was going to say he has his airways obstructed with blood, and they rolled him on his back.
Yep.
He's also unresponsive, so count the tongue in.
Alrighty then.
See what
I have a feeling where this is going. It's just minus a mahogany table.
I took my fingers and I jammed it and I pushed his tongue down and I held open the airway with my own hands.
Is there like some hillbilly fisherman where they're gonna take like a fishing hook and like pin his tongue to the like?
Oh, wouldn't that be so
That'd be
festive,
great.
right?
Right.
Just pin it to the
Patreon
roof of his
episode.
mouth.
Right. I learned this in Nam.
So the dual paramedic crew arrives on scene, and they're told to bring their unit's suction down to the creek bed.
No.
Coming down there.
They're also asked via the radio to bring any and all lighting they have.
I will
Because-
give you a counter offer. You ready? You ready for the counter offer?
Catch.
First would be, okay, I'll send my stuff down if you can catch it. Exactly. And second, how about you bring him to me?
Mm-hmm. They
They
can't.
can't. They didn't call the rope rescue team
Right.
in time.
I say again, you bring him to me.
Yeah,
that-
I'll be,
put that
they-
shit.
I'll be right here.
they got
that-
nothing.
Put that shit on the
I'll
back.
be up here fucking
have
slow
that?
clapping for you. Come on,
They
get it done.
no way of getting this guy up.
I'll throw you
At
down
all.
a backboard and some straps and the 9-foot
Yeah.
straps you could put on the front, and you could husky that
Just
shit
throw it
up
all
here.
at once.
Right?
Watch him go. Oh fuck!
Put him on a
Here
backboard.
comes the monitor.
Put him on a backboard, strap him in, 9-foot strap. You just husky his shit up here. Come on, let's go.
No.
Get that leg workout going. Come on.
Oh,
Here comes the life pack.
here comes the life
Ready?
back. So the EMTs don't have any lights down there. They are operating via the 2 flashlights from the officers. So that's why they're
I call
asking
bullshit.
for
They're volunteers. I call bullshit.
right? That's out of all the
No,
things wrong.
No,
That's what we're gonna really nix them on is
nope. I won't call bullshit on that because they probably did have 3 flashlights apiece, but they've been so on their shit for so long and unused, the batteries are all dead.
that could be 2.
They got cell phones in their pockets. They got
That's
flashlights
what
on those
happened.
things.
That is also true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the medics, being the true awesome heroes that Phil wants them to be, grab their drug bag, their cardiac monitor,
No.
their airway bag, and their portable suction. And where do they go?
Tell me they
Um,
fucking jump and put us out of our misery.
All the way down to the patient's side.
So hold on. Now, if everyone's going down
Well,
and it's a fucking party,
I was gonna say, you now have 6 people that made it down there.
Right.
There's got to be an easier way to get up than the way that guy went.
so
down.
yeah, I was gonna say. So how steep is this cliff? Because I mean, maybe it's not a cliff. It's just a hill.
They're
So-
doing like Spider-Man 2 where he just like repels himself down with webs.
Was that
So
electric boogaloo.
an electric boogaloo. So they have the actual cliff embankment, right? 60 feet. All I know is it's not
I met
It's
him
too
once. He's a cool
steep.
guy.
to be able to actually walk down it.
But 6 people just walked down it.
What I said in the beginning, which apparently multiple people missed, is the 2 initial cops walked down the embankment, along the embankment, and found another way down that was less steep.
Right.
Oh.
So they're walking down a less steep path, but not
okay.
at the actual fall site. They're
Right.
walking
So
like
there's-
down and then
So
down the embankment.
There's a safer
So
way.
there
down.
is an actual way you can go down and up and not get fucked.
Not die. Correct.
Oh.
Why don't
okay.
we just take the ambulance and drive it down to the entry of this path?
Because that's in the woods. You can't.
Well, you're in the
in
woods.
the woods. Yeah.
But that
You've got
you
a lot
might
of
be
wood.
able, with 6 people down there, you might be able to get them on a board and get them up.
Yeah. So thank you. No one has grabbed any extrication gear.
Yeah, like I would want.
let me
the board.
grab all of the stuff
Yeah.
for doing cool things except to get him out. Like,
Mhm.
so they both make their way down to the trail and eventually get to the patient's side with all of this stuff. They're given a report by the primary EMT. They say they had to roll him off the rocks. They rolled him again because his airway kept filling with blood and they didn't have a suction. So they did end up putting him on his side eventually. He has remained unresponsive. The other EMT was able to get a full set of vital signs. Manual BP was 70/46, which is surprising. Heart rate of 100 and regular. Respiratory rate shallow and uncountable. GCS remains 3.
How long have we been down there
What does
for?
that mean?
Roughly.
I have no idea, but if I had to guess, I would say at least 15 to 20 minutes.
I was going to say probably even closer to 30 when you really think
Who
about it.
who knows?
Has the fire department even called en route yet? Because I'm sure they're
I'm
all
assuming so.
volunteers.
I'm assuming so because 4 paragraphs from now it says fire arrives on scene.
Oh, well.
So, so you guys now have 2 paramedics, 2 EMTs, and 2 officers on the scene down in the hole. Vital signs, presentation, serious airway concerns. Other than extrication, what are we doing? Are we securing an airway before we go up?
Yeah.
Are we
Yeah,
just like what?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm putting a
So-
super galactic in and then worrying about everything else when I'm in my ambulance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this guy, you know, before we do anything, I want to secure the airway best I can. But I'm also going to be very cognizant that this guy's probably going to code any minute, especially when I move him and start schlunking him up the hill,
So
right?
I know you said he has like the laceration to his temple and all that. What about
Yep.
like nose down?
They just see billowing blood coming from the airway. So like he's just spewing blood from his airway.
Do we
Does
got
his
some lung
nose-
sounds?
They didn't take lung sounds. We don't need
Does his-
lung sounds.
does his nose
they're
look
not
broken
even
'cause of it?
ventilating him at this point, guys.
I mean, I was gonna say you never really made it that far.
Like
So
they have rolled him
I mean,
twice.
old
That's it.
school. Old school. I'm getting an airway pop in the chest. I mean, bilateral decompressions, but that's old school.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Getting some fluids on this guy. I mean, getting fluids probably might have to wait a little bit till we get him out of where we are, but
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you only have so many hands to move him. So who's going to hold the freaking bag?
Yeah.
Who's going to, breathe for him?
Do we have a
And who's actually going to carry him?
do we got a vent? I don't know, but that would be lovely. Even a palm vent is,
Yeah.
Better than nothing.
better than nothing. It frees up a set of hands. That's what it does.
I mean, I know
You
you said
know?
we had, we had a BLS bag and blah blah whatever, but I didn't hear a mention of any oxygen. Do we have oxygen in the BLS bag to vent this, to breathe for this guy? You know
Yes. Yep. It's standard first in bag with oxygen. However, they're not ventilating this guy. They didn't put in an airway. They didn't do anything except for drool out some blood that just continuously pours. So it's not like they're doing much managing. As Emily said, this guy's probably hypoxic with a brain injury by now because they haven't done anything to fix that, right? So the primary medic decides, okay, I'm going to go for the airway. The secondary medic begins the full body assessment. They're going to go, let's figure out what's actually wrong with this guy. The medic on the airway sucks out copious amounts of blood.
The medic on the airway sucks.
Yep, they suck. You suck.
Jackass.
They also instruct one of the EMTs to bandage his head wound. During the bandage, it's noted that by the area of the laceration on the right temple, it feels squishy with no
Of course it
hard
does.
structure underneath the cut.
Yeah, he's fucking done.
So, we can assume that he's got a large skull fracture at some on that right-hand side.
Well, if you ever want to know how a turnip was made, now you know.
Bandaging is now complete. Primary medic continues to suction. Nearly half of the suction canister is filled. It is the large, 1 liter suction canister. And they tell their partner that they're going to set up for an immediate intubation attempt.
No.
Just put a fucking king in, dude.
That
You're not in a good spot to be doing this.
They're going to do it under the lights of heroism.
We're gonna use video too with all that shit in their mouth, right?
Probably. It would not surprise me. Let's put
Just
it that
put
way.
whatever fucking supergalactic you have in, and then worry about tubing them after you get in the ambulance. Because there's nothing saying you can't pull it, like you can't pull your supergalactic and then try for a tube. There's nothing that says you can't do that.
And realistically, if I have a supergalactic, I want a ET tube anyway.
90% of the time, they have a little hole where you can slide a bougie through and slide the supergalactic out and feed an ET tube down through the bougie.
Done.
Right. And done. Easy breezy. So the secondary medic begins their full body exam. They find that the pelvis is unstable. Legs are both bowed, appearing more like frog's legs. There's an open fracture to the left leg and swelling to both thighs. Fire now arrives, begins preparing a backboard and a Stokes basket for extrication.
Someone should probably take that blood pressure again.
Right? County 911 also tells EMS that Air Medical has accepted the flight and has an ETA of 15 minutes.
So question.
Yes, sir.
What drugs do these guys carry? Do we have anything to help with clotting?
They
TXA.
do. The paramedics do have TXA. They also, I know we're not thinking about it because it's us, but you know that these guys will probably think about it. They do have RSI capabilities, with the standard formula of, ketamine, etomidate, sucks, and rock.
You just need to do the I part of that. You're good.
I'm aware. We're aware. But you know that if it's Patreon, they're probably going to go, let's RSI this guy. And then kill him.
And let's use sucks.
And let's use
and accommodate.
And
Let's really
why
kill
are
this
we
guy.
doing CPR? I don't know. But yes, they do have TXA. They do not carry any type of blood products. So,
I'm assuming I'm assuming it's just normal saline. They don't have lactated or anything.
nope, just normal saline. So, primary medic is now up for their intubation attempt. They do something that I was like, good job. Like, you know what? They get a yeah for this. And, of course, you peckerhead computer program.
Night.
I know, and that's what's playing, except it's not actually playing because, God forbid something works when I want it to. But these guys end up going, as I'm fixing this here, they end up going with...
It's been a while.
I know, it's been a while. They end up going with a DL attempt, so kudos to them.
Yeah.
Hey, I was 100% prepared that they would do video, just like you said. But they do end up going with a DL attempt. And in 8.0 tube, they do use the salad technique to suction while they are intubating. And they are able to successfully pass on the first tube.
Nice.
Upon confirmation, they listen to lung sounds via now a BVM, and they hear rails in each lung.
Not surprised.
Not surprised. I'm honestly not surprised they hear. I'm actually kind of surprised that they hear anything. Realistically,
Yeah.
Do they have a PEEP valve?
Not that I am aware of. So
It costs money.
Right. Realistically, it's the same amount whether you buy the PEEP valve with the BVM or separate.
Call volumes down.
Sorry,
It's gonna be hard to get a signature from this guy when he dies on you. So
call volumes down.
Call volumes down. Costs money.
That's absolutely right. So, let's see. Where am I? Shortly after the tube is placed, they deep suction. More blood is removed from the tube. Blood's also removed from the mouth around the tube. Secondary medic, now finished with their full body exam, begins to look for an IV site, while the EMT begins the cervical collar placement on the guy's neck. So at this point, no secondary injuries are getting treated. And possibly with everything that's going on that I listed, it's increasing in severity every second.
Well, I
right?
mean, aside from just trying to splint those fucking legs.
Yeah, you can't bind the pelvis because he doesn't have a pelvis.
Well, right.
And a tourniquet's not going to work because the bleeding's probably from the fucking bone.
Well, realistically, they don't have anything to splint with either, right? So, like, all of their shit is up on the top of this.
I mean, you could
ravine.
ghetto it. You have trees. You have branches.
You could.
honestly, at this point, those secondary injuries
Are any of them Native Americans?
Are not important.
Now, Gerard.
You know,
what was that, Butch?
those secondary injuries are not important right now.
That's why they're secondary.
ABCs are important.
Yeah.
Right. And, granted,
you could fix that stuff in the ambulance on the way to the hospital if you have time.
well, and that's a lot of what.
I mean, assuming he doesn't lose his blood volume.
Well, I mean, he's already lost his
Like
blood
that-
volume.
Well,
That's
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. That could be an issue with C. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
well, right. So, like, you have to think he's bleeding in the head. He's bleeding out of his lungs and his airway. He's bleeding into his pelvis. He's got to be bleeding into
both
his
both legs.
and both
yeah.
legs.
But
Both femurs are huge, and he's got to.
there's his volume.
Right, that's
Right.
his
You're not
volume.
gonna-
He's dead.
you're
He
not gonna
doesn't
fix
have
that.
volume.
That's a surgical problem. You're not going to fix that.
Right.
With splinting it.
Right.
Really.
So you use what you have. You have your TXA. Put it in.
Yeah.
It can't hurt at this point.
I mean, if you had
whatever.
matched trousers right now,
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
There we go.
But probably got it
All
out.
right.
1975.
Yep. Here we go. God Jesus.
Keep pumping.
So,
Patient's
let's.
flying away. Hold on.
Well, where am I? Okay.
I mean,
go ahead, Gerard.
no.
No,
No,
go.
I'm good.
You're good.
I'm good. No, I'm good.
Okay.
Rock on.
Rock on.
I there's honestly, aside from the TXA, okay, congrats, you got a tube. Fucking A, right on. Yeah, man. Can we get the fuck out of here?
Right. I would like to get extricated at this point.
Yeah.
So,
Third,
The-
can I get out of here?
what was that?
We cannot get out of here.
Yeah.
We have nothing down here.
They have nothing down there. The secondary medic is able to secure IV access to the left AC with an 18.
Fantastic.
They hang a leader bag.
Yay.
Yay. They also decide, for whatever stupid idea, because I guess they're going, hey, we still have time because there's no Stokes basket or any extrication equipment down here, that they're going to place them on the cardiac monitor for a lead and
Okay.
grab another set of vittles. Blood pressure via the NIBP cuff returns as 53 over our favorite numeral of
Dot,
triple
dot.
dash.
Question mark.
Heart rate of 49.
Oh,
Bradycardic
good.
arrhythmia with PVCs.
He's going.
Respiratory rate is mid 20s, still ventilated by the
We
BVM.
want to put those pads on.
Right. SpO2 is 81% on 15 liters.
Anybody think of bringing the thumper down?
Nope.
Well, looks like
really
that
didn't.
cop's getting his arm
Six
worked
people
out.
down here, fine. Yeah, there's 6 of them down
There's
there.
plenty to do CPR.
Cops are CPR certified.
So hold on now. Let's ask Mr. Owl to count. So we have a Juan holding the monitor.
That's Uno.
Because now he's on the monitor.
That's
right?
Uno.
We have a 2. Maybe the 1 can hold the monitor and the O2 tank. A 2 bagging. Okay. But let's just say you can't climb a fucking cliff and hold a monitor and an O2 tank at the same time. So let's just say 3 are all holding something now. That leaves us with a 1, a 2, and a 3 to actually lift and carry this fucker up, who's dead weight, up an embankment.
Well, I mean,
How the fuck's that gonna happen?
The fire
The
department's
firemen
there.
are coming with the Stokes baskets.
Even
Oh,
still.
we'll just wait. We'll just wait then.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Because
All right.
clearly we just need to keep waiting. That's all.
Yeah, just wait.
Just
Yeah,
wait.
just wait. It's okay.
No
rush. Take your time.
Right. This is non-priority transport, Gerard.
Yeah, we'll be down here.
They're
It's
fine.
okay.
Make sure you get the signature before he dies.
We'll make some s'mores while we're down here. You know,
Take
it's
his
nice.
bloody thumbprint and put it right over where it's his
Sing
patient signature.
kumbaya.
Right.
So the fire department arrives. Hallelujah. And they
With
arrive
the
at the
median
creek
age of
bed.
70.
Yep, with the backboard and Stokes basket. The providers are able to get him onto they roll him back onto his side. While they roll him onto his side, they assess his back for the first time. They find 2 bulges on the spine, one in the lumbar region and one just below the end of the C-collar, right at the start of
Not surprised.
the thorax there. Crew rolls him back onto the backboard, secures him, then lifts him into the Stokes basket. More fire department personnel arrive, and they begin to extricate this guy up the hill. And while they're doing the extrication and moving up the hill, ventilation stops, except for every so often they'll pause, give a breath, and then continue.
Right. Because that's how it's supposed to be.
It's exactly how it's supposed to be. Haven't you ever done a call with firemen? I mean,
Oh, yes, I have. I've done a call where we had somebody, we're working CPR, and because, we're not going to work the code, we're going to move him to the ambulance through the snow. So, okay, so how are you going to keep doing CPR through the snow? Well, we just won't. We'll just move him to the ambulance, because that's where he's got to be, so we
Right.
can do CPR.
mm-hmm.
Well, but we're doing CPR here. Why don't we stay here? Well, but you got to do it in the ambulance. Okay, so Brondo has what plants crave. It's got electrolytes. I understand now.
Or
Yeah.
you look over and the EMT's ventilating the bag, talking to the EMT, and the bag is not hooked to the ET tube.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
always a fun
love
one.
that one. Or the ET tube is out of the mouth as they're squeezing the
Right.
bag. Oh, I didn't know. It just got looser. It's fine. So it takes approximately 10 to 12 minutes for the firemen to make their way up the trail. They finally arrive at the top and move to place him on the stretcher of the ambulance. Ventilations are again continued, but it's reported that there's considerable force against the bag during each ventilation. Deep suctioning is again performed. More blood is removed via the tube. The crew tells their driver to get them to the LZ to meet the air medical crew, who has landed many minutes prior and have just been waiting at the LZ.
Wait, they didn't meet him at the bottom of the hill?
They didn't meet
go
him.
down to
They
join them?
didn't join him. No, they stayed in They stayed safe. They were like, yeah, no, fuck it. I'm not going over there.
No balls.
Nope.
No balls.
No balls.
Yeah.
All brain.
So, if you guys, I think we all know this call could have gone a whole lot differently, right?
They would have.
I think if they had slowed down at the scene and managed resources, right?
Managed equipment.
We go back to the manage resources, manage equipment talk that we started with, right? This guy has made it through, I'm going to play the what if game, right? What if we waited, right? And said, hey, ALS people, I'm going to stay up here. BLS people, you go down, bring them to me, right? Firemen, you go down, bring them to me. This guy made it through 25 minutes on the scene, 5 to 10 minutes prior to getting to the scene, then a 12-minute extrication and hasn't died yet. Granted, that's a miracle, but I mean, we've rolled the dice and come up a winner so far. So
You can ding yourself on that, by the way.
what?
A miracle.
I said that on purpose.
Okay.
That one was on purpose.
A possible miracle.
Right. So like, is it safe to say, like, our initial thought process of, okay, we're going to wait, whatever, ALS is not going down. Even if you want to send the BLS crew in the fire, whatever, bring them up to the ALS crews. Just like if we had a rescue from a trail, like I do them in my district all the time. Someone's 5 miles in on the trail, NCON goes in and grabs them. The fire department goes in and grabs them. I stay at the trailhead and they get brought to me. Doesn't matter what's going on with them, right? I stay out of the woods. If this guy had died down there, right, and they're doing pushy, okay, then there's a phone call to be made. Like, hey, do we even want to do this? Like, dude just fell. Look at all these injuries. Probably not going to be a good outcome. Do we even have to do this? Your guys' thoughts.
I mean, knowing there's an easier way down that's safe. If it's easy and safe, then sure, go down and treat and do what you got to do. But if it's cliff, nah, I'll wait.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. But once apparently there is an easier way to get down there. So once you've found that out, okay, well then don't just take your fucking bag and run. Bring your shit with you, dude.
Right.
Bring okay. We know we're going down for a dude who fell off a cliff. Are we going to leave him there for the bears, or are we planning on bringing him back up? If we're planning on bringing him back up, we should probably bring some stuff to do that. I'm just spitballing. So, EMT's going down to do it, whatever. I mean, if they're able to manage the airway and do what they got to do, great. Paramedics coming up again. If it's, cliff, no. If it's easy to get to them, okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But no. If there's anything where any kind of technical expertise is needed to get this person out, I'm not going down. Sorry.
What about you guys?
I mean, I think
you always hear those stories like, oh, this one time, this person was under the water for 2 hours and they brought him back. Or this one time, this person was in a trauma and they were dead for like an hour and they got him back. You always hear those stories.
That was on Ripley's Believe It or Not.
But it's like all the science and all the research points to, like, once you're over a certain point, the person's dead. They're dead. I mean, you can't just take that one-off experience like this. We know it's not safe to do what these people did, no matter what you do. I mean, I get it. The person, did this guy have a good outcome? Did he walk out of the hospital not brain damaged? Was he walking the rest of his life?
Was he able to break dance again?
I mean, was he walking? Was he talking? Or was he, coloring a coloring book for the rest of his life, eating mashed potatoes? I mean, what was his outcome? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you hear these stories, but it's
right.
Scientifically proven that people don't do well under these circumstances. But this one time, the
sun shines on a dog's ass from time to time. Yep. That's all I got to say.
Mm-hmm. Now, Emily or Phil, do you want to add to anything here before I give you the last couple paragraphs?
I mean, I think you have to be careful with that confirmation bias. Like, so say this guy came out and made a great outcome. You're going to do that same, you're going to continue to put yourself in bad situations because you have one good outcome. And like, you got to think that through. Like, I don't want that confirmation bias.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good point.
So you need to be careful.
You get away with it and you think, oh,
just because
this is going to happen every time, and then it fucks you the next one.
You got away with it one time, or the patient had a good outcome one time, doesn't mean that was the right choice.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So logistically wise, why was the fire department never dispatched automatically?
Because the cops cleared them all.
The cops cleared them all and then just requested EMS back to the scene.
But when they said he fell down a cliff, you probably figure.
So dispatchers have these little cards that they flip through. Okay.
It also wasn't a 911 call. So you have to think, like, if the cops are saying, hey, I need EMS, they're just dispatching EMS.
Right. Yeah, it's
Well, they did ask, why do you need them back? And they said, well, the dude just jumped off a cliff.
right. You would think.
So you would think,
Yeah.
You would think.
but no, instead they went, all right, let me go to the cards. Okay, cards. Okay, I send EMS, and that's all it tells me to do. So I'm not going to think anymore. That's it.
I don't know, man. It would be hard pressed for me to believe that those cards wouldn't say, guy fell cliff, EMS, fire. Like,
If you get a helicopter standby for a fall in a nursing home, there's no way fire shouldn't have been dispatched. on
Exactly. Like
exactly. It's
common
an
sense
interesting
dictates.
thought.
He fell off a cliff. You're gonna have to get him out of the fucking ravine.
I mean,
Only 60 feet. It's not 61 feet. No fire.
well, yeah, the card says 61 feet or greater, so it wasn't 61 feet. So they don't do it. But what I was going to say is, this cliff is in their district. There should be some sort of protocol for people who fall off cliffs.
I'm sure that
this must be a rugged area.
I'm sure
Yep.
this hasn't been the one,
Right.
poor fucker who's fallen down said cliff.
Right.
Who
Next thing you know, they're
knows?
having a town hall meeting. Somebody fell off a cliff. That's never happened before.
Right.
We should
400
do
years
something about
Town
this.
has been in existence next to the cliff.
Next to the
No.
cliff. It's
So I'm assuming somebody must know that, like,
This
There
is
has to
dangerous.
be-
Don't do it.
right there's areas around this district where you need specialized rescue.
I mean, they have a
So-
team trained to do this.
right. There's
They
a
know.
county rope
Right.
rope rescue team.
Right.
You don't have county rope rescue teams unless you
You need a
clearly
rope
know
rescue.
that you
Yeah,
need
they
them
don't-
more often than Joe Punk, fire
Just,
department having their rope
to that-
rescue
to that-
team.
To them, a 60 foot isn't a cliff; it's a step.
It's-
They like a big room.
They didn't just do it for the CEs.
That's right. So they end up putting this guy into the ambulance, and the ambulance starts transporting over to the LZ. During the ambulance ride,
See, if they had had a hoist on a Bell 412,
they'd already be gone. See you later. Goodbye.
gone.
Gone. During the ambulance ride, 1
You take that to your
milligram.
bosses.
Yeah.
If you got a cliff, you need a hoist.
I hear they're looking for a new helicopter. I'm just saying.
Ouch.
Damn.
Too soon.
Right? Too soon.
Never.
Ouch.
They got a little salt for that wound.
So the paramedics end up giving 1 milligram atropine for the declining heart rate. They also give another bag of saline. The ambulance arrives at the LZ. They're met by the flight team, and this guy's ultimately going to be transported to a large city hospital designated the level 1 trauma.
Now it's an hour and a half by ground. How it passes it by
It's an hour and a
by-
half by ground. It was I did ask, let me find it here in my notes. It
about
was
15, 20-minute flight.
nope, hour and a half.
No,
It was
40.
about a 36 minutes. There it is. 36-minute flight.
Not bad.
So before I give you the update on what the air medical crew did, as well as the ultimate end of the call, overall thoughts for the whole thing. I know we've hashed out a lot of different points, but overall thoughts.
I mean, EMTs did EMT things. They could have done a few more EMT things, but
That's my line.
EMT things is EMT things. So
I definitely think they slouched in the airway
they-
control
they
and
slouched on
ventilation
the
control.
airway. They did, but like I said, they at least they got the cops to take the cuffs off. I mean, what
Phil
a
was
plus,
very happy about that.
and
I mean, you think they all were, everybody, all 4 providers there were a little tunnel vision. Like, you
Right.
have to think, yes, you manage, for the ALS providers, like, they managed the airway when they got there, but we still don't have a plan to get this guy out.
Right.
and
So, like, you have to keep thinking of the big picture.
and it doesn't seem like they addressed the bleeding control at all.
Anything else, yeah.
So they addressed bleeding, and that was really it. They left everything else. Like, once they even got to the ambulance, they did not do
If you wanna call
any
the
type
saline-
of splinting or anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. We can nix them on that. Is it better
Did they give the TXA?
Nope.
Well, then they didn't address the bleeding. They gave him saline.
I'm saying like the bandaging of the wounds,
Oh,
not the internal bleeding.
Yeah. Well, at least we bandaged the wound.
Yes. You know? They fixed the external bleeding, not the
Right,
internal bleeding.
Because the oozing blood from the laceration is what's killing him,
Right.
not the high pressure stuff blowing out into his cavities.
Nah,
Right.
it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, I think, the airway is where I think they suffered the most. I agree with you guys in that they got tunnel visioned onto the major things and weren't really considering all of the other things going on. The internal bleeding,
the operational
operations,
things.
right?
Yeah,
right. It was
all patient care and no.
It was almost like a shock factor of like, oh my God, this is really bad, and
right. And then after they were like, okay, it's not as bad now because we've done some things, and then it's, oh yeah, we still have to get out. How do we do that?
Right.
Oh God, I'm still here.
Right. Oh God, I'm still here. Why didn't I get mirabled out?
Right. See, it works.
I'm not digging it.
Well, you don't have to dig that hole. I will. So the air medical crew
question mark
places pelvic binder. They hang norepi and blood products. They will also.
Yeah, that's what I had that question, and then I forgot it. But yeah, do they not carry freaking Levofed?
It wouldn't have helped.
They do, but the guy's got no volume to really give it for.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could give it.
And all you're gonna do is push that blood out because they didn't do anything about the bleeding.
Right. Yeah. So at least the flight team is giving blood products to replace something. You know, it's still gonna. As Butch said, this guy needs an OR.
Well, yeah.
But they give the Levofed, they give blood products. They do give TXA on their end. They're also going to connect to the vent, along with end tidal, because what did I not say through this entire thing?
His end title.
Oh, they never.
No one ever confirmed it with end tidal. They just confirmed it with lung sounds. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and they had their monitor. Well,
and they had their monitor.
To be fair, end tidal costs money, so.
What kind of blood products
they
would again?
They would have had to justify it.
They would have had to justify it. So the air medical teams in this area typically will carry plasma and packed red cells. Yep. So they throw them on end tidal monitoring. Dopamine is also hung.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
And I asked why, and they said they didn't get into a lot of the nitty gritty for it, but they said cardiac and vascular properties, which I agree with.
Cool.
On final approach, this guy will end up coding. They begin.
Wait a minute. You can't do CPR in a helicopter.
Oh, tell my wife that.
You can if you put the Lucas on first.
Right. Resuscitation efforts prove unsuccessful at the hospital. He expires in the ER.
Surprise.
It'll be found afterwards that through imaging and stuff that all of the things that we knew, where the bleeding was, he had all of the bleeding, including the subarachnoid bleed underneath the skull fracture, with what was described as a major midline shift. I don't know exactly how many centimeters it was, but it was major enough to where they were like, yeah, no, this thing was fucking huge. So
proper medical terminology. Fucking huge.
Fucking huge. Exactly. So, I think we beat scene management and resource management to a pulp in this one.
I mean, gold star for the freaking, the direct one pass there. That was
fucking right.
Gold star on that.
Yeah. Let's see if my. There it is. Now it works.
I heard him.
Yeah, 100%. Like, that's awesome. Someone had a so.
That was me.
Okay, go ahead.
Instead of the atropine, after they got through one bag of fluid, right?
Mm-hmm.
While they were driving to the landing zone,
Mm-hmm.
why not like an epi drip?
Protocol.
It could be protocol.
I mean, but you could call and be like, "Hey, doc, this is what I got. He's fucked up.
Also,
Help."
realistically, I'm gonna have to, like, it's hard pressed to tell me that this guy didn't have some form of neurogenic shock going on, right?
I mean,
with
no,
the
he
spinal
definitely
cord
did.
injuries, right? And the atropine's not going to work through that. Epinephrine is gonna work on sympathetic
Right.
receptors. They are, if he's got a high bulge right at the end of his cervical spine, he probably doesn't have any sympathetic nerves being used, because they start in the thoracic and the lumbar spine and the lower ones at that. So it's like he might not even have the ability for those things to clamp down on or to increase. I don't know. That's above my pay grade. That's getting into more Emily and Butch's section of the program here with their critical care knowledge.
Well, so I was thinking about the norepi sooner rather than later, but yeah, I guess, I mean,
Because with norepi, you have nothing to clamp down on.
Right. Exactly.
And I mean, an epi drip would work on both heart rate and blood pressure.
Well, norepi, you've only got the beta 1.
Assuming it's getting the signals.
Yeah, I mean, if it would work. I mean, there's nothing saying you can't just throw it at them and be like, "Oh, well, that didn't work," and then shut it off.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they threw the atropine. I was like, "Oh shit, that didn't work."
I mean, New York State finally, got into the program now where they actually allow you to do some push dose epi with the doc order, but still you can do some push dose epi now. So
yeah, because you had all that time at the bottom of this ravine. You could have called if you're really going by instead of that, ask for forgiveness rather than permission. You could have called and said, "Hey, I have a feeling this is what it's going to turn into. Can I get an order for 2 or 3 doses of push dose epi? See if that works. If it works, give me an order for an epi drip."
Right.
I mean, you wouldn't even know. You don't need 2 or 3. One dose is going to tell you if you're getting a response.
If it's going to work or not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Emily, what are your thoughts before my wife is right outside the office here? I might phone a friend and have her.
You should phone a friend. I'd be curious to see what she thinks.
Hey, honey! We're going to phone a friend right in the middle of the recording here.
She needs intro music.
She's not going to come on camera. Are you kidding me? She's going to stand right by the door, and I'm going to talk across the office from her. First off, she's not listening to me because she's got her earbuds in.
What do you guys do on the chopper for, like, when you do blood products and stuff? Do you guys have the protocols for doing calcium and stuff? 'Cause I know a lot of the blood products use citric
So we
acid.
give for every unit of blood for my program, we give whole blood. For every unit that we give, they get calcium and TXA automatically. Everybody
Okay,
gets it.
so
I know they preserve it a lot with citric acid, so the calcium kind of.
Yeah, I mean, with one unit, you're not going to see it, but it's not going to hurt them.
Okay, so Jess has entered the office. We're phoning a friend here. We're going to put you on the spot.
Hi, Jess.
Emily says
Jess.
hi. Phil says hi.
And I just thought of something else too. Was just running through, like, what else could they have maybe tried? But Phil kind of sparked my brain thought with the epi drip. But with all the, I mean, assuming we were ever going to get any kind of fucking, blood flow again, maybe get a bicarb drip or something going too, because if his legs are that fucking big and all that shit's just pooling in there, if they do manage to reflow any of that, it's going to be
right.
That's going to be full of
huge
nasty
compartment
shit.
syndrome.
Yeah.
So with neurogenic shock, with a guy that's going bradycardic with no blood pressure, would an epi drip do anything for heart rate and or blood pressure?
Yes, but typically your first line neurogenic is going to be a dopamine drip.
So she says yes. However, first line is dopamine.
That's why they did the dope.
Yep.
But I mean, if we don't carry it,
So is it the same kind of thing as like, so my initial thought process was the alpha and beta properties of the epi have to get to activate the sympathetic nervous system, but in neurogenic shock, it's not actually there. So does it get around the... You haven't even listened to my full question yet. Does it get around it because
She's like, nope, you're dumb.
No, right. She's giving me the
Nope,
look of like,
nope,
shut
you're
up.
dumb,
Don't ask
paramedic.
me this question. I don't know.
God,
I wonder if she like
paramedics
hears us
asking me
talk like the
questions.
way we would hear
Ugh.
like a caveman talk.
I
You know?
think,
I
yes.
pick up heavy
think
things
so.
and put them down.
It's why she doesn't
Bang
ever
rock
want to come
together.
on. She's like, yeah, you guys are idiots.
Well,
What were you gonna say?
ask her if they have dopamine. What's the next line treatment?
So my thought process could you give the epi and it work on those receptor sites because it's going through the bloodstream and not so much the nervous system?
I have no idea. I do not know the answer to that question.
Okay, I've now confused her. What with just my stupidity questions.
Emily asked the question.
Yes, Emily, what was your question for her?
Ask her what her next line treatment is if they don't have dopamine.
What is your next line treatment if they don't have dopamine?
Yeah, I'd go with epi because you want to increase the heart rate and have the alpha.
Would be nice to be able to hear her.
She won't. I'll just reiterate. She says
She's been on the show before.
yes, and it was
My birthday.
It was
That's all you get.
horrific trauma, and she'll never do it again.
Got PTSD from it.
Right, exactly. So she said that it would be epi.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
For the
next line
treatment after she's been Googling stuff. Go ahead.
Because if I don't know, I'm gonna look it up.
Yep. She's like me. If I don't know, I look it up.
So, epi is rarely used because epi's beta-1 adrenergic effects can lead to arrhythmias.
Okay, so she says that epi is rarely used in neurogenic shock because the beta-1 effects lead to arrhythmias. So they
Yes,
they
that
don't
is
like
true.
to use it. Cool. Thanks, honey. She gives you all the thumbs up.
Are we sure that was the thumb?
Nope. Pretty sure it was the thumb. I don't think it was the
Okay.
finger. Nope, it was definitely a thumb. She just gave another one.
Ah.
Now that she closed the door, it became the finger. So the big thing, that I want to, really get into the nitty-gritty here is the end title, was first off for tube placement, right? Gold standard
Right,
across
completely
the
forgot
board,
about it.
right? Now, just think about this is a mucked up airway. It's awful
Ugh.
looking. It's got fluid in it, and we're listening to lung sounds, and it's like, or we can
Dude.
just make sure that there's air in the lungs. Boom, great. I got an end title, right?
Dude was like such a rock star with the fucking with the one pass down in the fucking gully,
With salad.
right? We used salad and everything. I just took it like on gospel that he must have put end title on.
Yep. Nope.
And then they listened to lung sounds and heard what they just it didn't even dawn on me that he didn't fucking do that.
Yeah.
Or she or whatever.
And
I don't know.
and what's even crazy, right, is we all know that, we can use end title for perfusion management. How well
Yeah.
are they perfusing? But we can also utilize it for management of head injuries, and placing your end title slightly lower solely for the management of that head injury. The problem with this guy is I guarantee you that his end title would have been like 12, 15, right? Which, yes, isn't
that's
going,
dead.
isn't
Yeah.
going to be great for the head injury. You want them slightly lower in that, 25 to 35 range for head injuries. But even still, like, you can look at perfusion and go, okay, yeah. this guy's not perfusing. He's oh, look, the end title's going lower. I bet this guy's going to code any second, you know? So yeah, this one, that was a hard pill to swallow. And I was like, oh my God, they don't have that.
Yeah. So I know we've talked about the OODA loop a few times,
Mhm.
you know, in this, and when you said, okay, they came down and they put end title on them after they got to the helicopter crew, and like literally like my brain checked out for a moment, and I was like, wait a minute, they just you know what I mean? And it took that few seconds to understand that I did just hear what I think I heard.
Right.
You know, I was like, my brain just was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bless you.
It's nuts. It's nuts. You know, the other thing that I, as I was writing this, and reviewing all of the documentation that they sent to me and all the stories, is that the other thing that was never done was pupils. Now, granted, they clearly had signs of a head injury, but, you know, they didn't look to see if like, oh, hey, are these, you know, different? Are they sluggish? Are they non-reactive? Is one blown? Like, they didn't look to see about anything in pupillary reaction as well. So just remember, you know, in these head injury and neurogenic patients, you know, now this is multi-system trauma going like crazy. You know, you have airway issues, breathing issues, you know, vascular issues, you know, neuro issues. It's everywhere. But we don't want to get tunnel visioned into one thing and one thing only, you know. That's my take.
Yeah, 2 EMTs and 2 paramedics.
Yeah, I mean, you have 2 full crews there. 2 full crews to be able to do the work of 2 full crews. You know, nothing should be missed. People should be talking to each other going, hey, I'm ventilating and I'm not looking at end title. EMTs know what end title is.
Yeah,
They're the ones that usually put it on.
Yeah, why aren't the EMTs assessing or at least one EMT assessing the physical injuries?
Right.
Why isn't the other paramedic, you know, doing a line while the other one's doing the intubation?
Right.
You know, and and you still have another EMT to do shit.
Right.
So I mean, like, there's plenty of shit to do.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
You have plenty of hands. You know, 2 cops to clap while you guys were doing it. I mean, you're good to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of wild. But any last thoughts before we say farewell to our amazing audience?
For another 6 months.
No. We're going to make sure that Phil stops dodging us and gets in to record.
For real.
For realsies.
Oh, no, he has a car to go anywhere now, so.
Exactly. Oh,
Yeah.
snap. That's right.
What happened?
His car blew up.
Oh, no.
It didn't really blow up, but his...
Wait, well, hold on. He's a fireman now. He can go get a pickup truck.
Oh, shit. I offered him to buy mine months ago, but, you know, apparently that wasn't cool enough. Wasn't red. It was black. Sorry.
I could care less about the color, bro.
You got to have it red because you got to put your light bar on there.
That's right. And, you know, thank you for that, Gerard. Just so that everyone remembers, Up to Par Lighting, right? Give Mikey a call for all of your emergency lighting needs. Like I said, snow plows, utility trucks, personal vehicles, fire trucks, EMS vehicles, and, of course, law enforcement vehicles. He literally does them all. So find him at Instagram or on Instagram at Up to Par, PARR Lighting. And you can always give him a call, 845-532-9964. Gerard, as we are leading out here, give us give us a good one.
Them some long overdue donuts.
There you go. Nice job.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want more information about us and the podcast, or if you'd like to send us one of your messed up calls to review, visit medic-materials.com. There you can also find out how to earn continuing education credits just by listening to the podcast. We appreciate you spending time with us today. Until next time, remember.
Always make sure to take those handcuffs off.